Recording. Okay, welcome to LevAI. Oh my gosh, what is LevAI? Right at this moment in time, LevAI is a lot to me. LevAI is a possibility to live the future in a more positive way than the past. And my past has been really, really positive. But LevAI represents a different possibility than anything I have previously interacted with, simply because we now find ourselves in an environment where an entire global society is being required to adopt a new technology, literally being required. Just as there was a time when our entire culture and society was required to adopt computerization. If you think about it, did you really have a choice? No, we adopted computerization or we were left behind. There was similarly a time when we either adopted the internet or we were left behind. We're at one of those turning points right now. This is not a subtle shift. This is a moment in time that has been described as Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, in the following way. He said that AI is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past. Now, that's a remarkable statement, isn't it? And so when we contemplate and consider what have our past successes in life been, if I look back over my shoulder at my successes, and there've been some meaningful successes, those successes were made possible by then existing technology. Those successes were made possible by then extant knowledge. And so now, when we find something that is more profound than anything we've done in the past or benefited from in the past, that creates a different opportunity. It, in fact, creates a bigger opportunity. And it is also important to state that it does also imply a certain degree of risk if one chooses not to adopt early. You will adopt, no choice. But if one does not adopt early, market share in your particular endeavor, whatever it is, will be sacrificed to those who do adopt more quickly. And so I urge you and encourage you to wipe clean the whiteboard in your mind and just be open to the possibilities of the information over the course of the next 25 or 30 minutes. I've become increasingly convinced that this is an absolutely extraordinary moment. And it's a moment that will benefit many. Let it be that you are one of those to whom it benefits. Of course, I have great special joy in this. My son Blake is the president of the company. That is not a hire that I could make. I don't own the company. I'm not an officer or director. I don't own shares. I am what you are or can become, a participant in the delivery of the tool to generate royalties. Blake has spent many years in developing social enterprise businesses. His most recent success was as CEO of Medical Marijuana Incorporated, as he guided that company through the end of the prohibition of cannabis. Having completed his non-compete agreement, he's now eligible to lead another company to success. And so here we are. Could not be more pleased with that. I want you all to think back to the days of the Industrial Revolution. Of course, we weren't there, but we've read about it. We've heard about it. Remember that Eli Whitney made the cotton gin, and we remember all these dramatic changes. Things changed incredibly when there was a loom that would knit instead of an individual that would knit, and when suddenly people are no longer drawing their pulling plows with horses, but with tractors. Was there opportunity associated with that? Yes, of course. Look at what's happened to the global economy since the advent of the Industrial Revolution. But what if your business, your job, your life was in making those collars for draft horses to pull plows? You see, the fact that the difference here with AI is it's going to be 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution and maybe 10 times faster. Pay attention to that 10 times faster. If you are not an early adopter, there is risk that one is left behind. The person who did not early quickly adopt from the fact that no, we're not always going to be pulling plows with horses, one who stubbornly held on to the past, they found out that they were looking at the taillights a long ways in front of them and it was hard to catch up. Do not let that occur to you. Here, Demesis Abbas, the head of DeepMind, states the difference here with AI is it's going to be 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution and perhaps 10 times faster. That demands that we pay attention. We pay attention quickly. LevAI makes it simple for entrepreneurs to launch, market, and grow businesses. I think of a conversation that I had many years ago with a friend. He was a mentor named Tobe Anderson, and he and I were on the beach in San Diego. We were looking out the ocean. And San Diego, of course, has a great big naval base. And that particular day, there were very, very large military vessels out deep. You could see them out there. They were silhouettes. They were out there a long ways. And he asked me, he said, Randy, do you know why the big boats are so far out there? And I said, no, I didn't know what he's looking for. He says, because it takes deep water to float a big boat. And so those great big ships, they're out there in the deep water. Said if you want to build a big business, you must have a very, very large market. It takes deep water to float a big boat. And so when I began delving into the concepts and the ideas of I first glanced at this thought that LevAI makes it simple for entrepreneurs to launch, market, and grow businesses. That's an important thought because there are 388 million small business owners in the world. That's deep water. But then I thought of it even another term. Here we see a cell phone. What percentage of planet Earth uses a cell phone, do you suppose? There are 8 billion people in the world. What percentage of them do you suppose use a cell phone? That is the percentage who are going to use AI. That's the same percentage. And so it's not just about those 388 million that own small businesses. That's deep, deep water. No, it's even deeper than that. It's everyone who owns a phone. They're going to use AI probably within 5 years. It is everyone who currently uses a computer or who uses the internet. They're all going to use AI probably within the next 5 years. And so the question is, will we be the conduit to other people's use and thereby become a catalyst to cause that which is destined to occur just a bit more quickly? If so, the rewards are something greater than that which you've experienced historically. Why? Because your current results, your historic results, are based upon then existent knowledge and technology. Here we find an opportunity to either follow others into an environment of profound importance or to lead people into an environment of profound importance, which will be your choice. In order to have a tremendous financial breakthrough in any environment, one of the many ingredients, I suppose, would be to find problems and create solutions for those problems. That's where economic opportunity exists. Identify problems and then create or identify solutions for those problems and make them more widely available. So there are a host of problems right now that people face as they find themselves being compelled to learn about AI. I don't know how one could ignore it in today's society. Turn on the radio and find out if you will not hear about AI in the next hour and a half. Watch the television and see if you won't hear about AI. Glance at the financial news. Go to the internet. You are going to hear about AI. You can't stop yourself from it. I don't believe you could shield yourself from it. And so, what do people find as they begin dipping their toe in the water? What they find out is that just as any recipe has a list of ingredients, they find there is a literal ingredient list of AI solutions out there. But that ingredient list does not come together into one recipe to bake a cake. That's what happens. Individual ingredients do not bake a cake. And even if we have the individual ingredients, they must be combined together and there must be a catalyst that causes them to become one, much as yeast is the catalyst that causes a loaf of bread to rise and become one. And so the problems that we solve is to identify all of these solutions. First of all, to recognize that whether or not you know it, every person that you know is going to use AI. That's the truth. Every person you know is going to use AI. Many of them will not even know they're using it when they do, but every person you know is going to use artificial intelligence. And at least half of the people you know are already talking about it. That's already happening out there. And so if you come along and become the catalyst to that conversation, then you get to be the one who guides others into the utilization of AI for the benefit of their business, for the benefit of their lives, or perhaps as a business. And so understand we have those choices. The first choice is made for us. We will use AI. You use it on a daily basis today, though you probably don't know. When you contact some customer service, you may very well be interacting with a bot. AI is going on. You are currently using AI in some part of your life, though you do not know it. You might be using it to someone else's benefit as opposed to yours, but you are using AI right now. And so when you come along and you cause these vague independently functioning ingredients to come together as one, you then have solved the problem for another person. When we solve a problem for another person, we create the solution that provides opportunity. So here we see a group of solutions that are created by one application, that being LevAI, that stands for leveraging artificial intelligence. LevAI makes building and maintaining a candidate and customer lists far easier. If you did not happen to be a part of the training just completed. I will post that training link as soon as it's available in about an hour. Please watch it. There is absolutely no reason for anybody. There is not a reason for anyone on planet Earth to have a challenge identifying people who don't just need but want to hear our message right now. You will have, if you're willing to invest an hour in reviewing that material at the conclusion of this discussion, you can have a candidate list that is way bigger than you need it to be literally today. It creates confidence about what to say to each candidate. You'll understand that as well, having reviewed that material. Removes barriers that make you feel stuck. There should not be one person, not one, in the earshot of my voice right now who watches on recording who has a barrier that causes them to feel stuck, not if you're willing to invest the hour just spent in teaching people how to use LevAI for this purpose. It keeps you in front of your customers and proposed customers to maximize efforts. And I believe that my own experience now, only a few weeks in, is that this combination of this tool suite in combination, these catalyst ingredients have the possibility to eliminate for so many people the incidence of failure. And if we eliminate the incidence of failure, then of course that ultimately removes the fear of failure and it creates continual and constant momentum. So here we have a recipe. Here we've got a bunch of individual ingredients. A bunch of individual ingredients. You can acquire ingredients like this in the marketplace. You can acquire standalone tools to begin building online presence and consistency. You can acquire a separate tool to manage your contacts, CRM. You can acquire tools to do all of these things. But until LevAI, you could not acquire a tool that does all of these things and that causes each one to communicate with the other tool. This is maybe my greatest fascination. I either do or do not do. I'm not one of those who fusses around. I either do or I do not do. And if I'm going to do it, I do it as big and as I do it as big and as bold and as profoundly as I possibly can. So I've dived in very, very aggressively. And I can tell you today that I have become absolutely I am thrilled with what I'm experiencing, not with what I'm hoping to experience. I am thrilled with what I'm experiencing. I am now I am the beneficiary of the Lev AI solution. It's evident to me that one of the easiest ways to predict future results is to measure current influence. If a person has great influence today, opportunities will look for them. People of influence draw opportunity to them. That is one of the outcomes, one of the great outcomes of becoming a person of influence. If we lack influence, we have to search for opportunity. If we possess influence, opportunities search for us. Therefore, there's little we could do that would aid one's entrepreneurial experience more than growing their influence. The easiest and most predictable way and the fastest way to grow influence is to grow and expand and develop social media presence. And so, interwoven throughout each of these ingredients, each ingredient has a primary purpose and a secondary purpose. Most have a third level purpose as well. Intertwined throughout all that we do is an ongoing effort to grow your social media presence. Now, that will be an outcome that is a process, an outcome of a process. We're not going to have you a million followers tomorrow, but we'll engage in a process with you and on your behalf, the software itself, to begin growing your social media presence, which will, of course, give you an ability to have people looking for you. You no longer have to look for, and that will do a whole lot to help you get unstuck. This next piece of the puzzle is part that we talked about a bit, and we um, discussed the way that this will grow. This will grow your access to people who want to know what LevAI is. A simple screenshot import into a CRM. All we do, take the phone, go to any social media presence or go to your computer, go to any social media profile, do a screenshot of it, and 90 seconds later, you will know more about that contact than you know about your little sister or your big brother. It's quite amazing. It's absolutely fascinating. And now finally, we get the opportunity to help our contact do what they want to do. There are reasons that Sundar Pichai says this is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past. Clear up until now in my career, what have I done? Not knowing what other people want. That's the truth. Not knowing what other people want. My career has been about trying to persuade them to want what I want them to want. That's the truth. That's backwards thinking. Forward thinking is what? To identify what you want and help you accomplish it. Not to try to persuade you to want what I want, or not to try to persuade you to do what I want you to do so I can get what I want. This is not a simple play on words, folks. Helping other people do what they want as opposed to trying to provoke them to do what we want. That idea is an idea that will create results that are many, many, many times greater. Why? Because so many more people will be able to actively access a candidate list. Trying to persuade is hard. It requires a certain personality and skills. Having others be drawn towards you is easy utilizing LevAI. We'll never again have to spend money to build websites. That's part of the overall solution. It's brilliant. It takes a matter of minutes to create a site. These reminders to build your business. There's a lot to this that stands out for me. This particular part of the solution is a profound one for me. Over the course of my career, I have never in my life encountered a single person who has done all that which is required to succeed, but done it poorly and therefore failed. I've never experienced it. Sadly, what I have done is interacted with countless people who, principally because of fear, have simply not done that which was required to succeed. They were frozen in fear. How did that happen? Why were they frozen in fear? It's because the vast majority of people that I know become entrepreneurs. They become an entrepreneur. They didn't start that way. They started as an employee. And as an employee, they were reacting to the demands, to the requests of the employer. There were boundaries. We know what time we go to work and what time we leave. We know which office we work in, and we know to whom we submit our reports. And those boundaries give a certain degree of comfort because we know what to do and when to do it. We don't have to wonder about it. Those boundaries are beneficial for some. We need those who are comfortable inside those boundaries. Entrepreneurs need great employees, and I've been benefited by great employees in my life. There are others of us for whom those shoes are just too tight. If you've ever felt like this, you want to work when you want, where you want, with whom you want, if you want, and if you want to establish your own value in the marketplace, well, that's never shown up in any job description, has it? That's because that's a description of entrepreneurship. And so, if the shoes are too tight in employment, I seek to make the journey from employment, the reactivity of employment, to the proactivity of entrepreneurship. Then the easiest way that I can explain how I believe this transition could be eased for so many people is I'm a pilot. I fly airplanes, and I've owned airplanes in my life. I don't right now. But if I'm flying on a visual flight plan, VFR, that means that I can look down there and I can see what's up. I can be up in the sky, but I can still be following Interstate 80 all the way across the United States. I have visual reference. But if the weather is inclement, if I'm required to fly in clouds, now I can't see where I'm going. This is what it feels like to a typical newcomer joining our business. They're trying to make the journey from employment to entrepreneurship, and they're flying in the clouds. They have no visual reference. They can't see where they're going. They've not been there before. They've never landed at that airport. They've never made that journey. When I'm flying in the clouds, I have very sophisticated charts and maps that I follow and radio frequencies that I listen to and that I track from beacon to beacon. But I also have a personally assigned air route traffic controller that says 6162 Romeo, you have fallen 500 feet below the MEA. Please ascend 500 feet to retain your safety and continue your course of flight. 6162 Romeo, you're about to exit the Denver Center and enter Salt Lake City Center. Please reset your radios to 112.7 and contact Salt Lake Center. 6162 Romeo, you're about to enter the landing pattern for Salt Lake City. Please go to Salt Lake Approach and go to this frequency. Literally somebody guiding me every step of the way, bringing me back to the center line, correcting me if I make error. This is what begins occurring for every participant in our business, effective now. The day you learn how to use our suite of tools, our solutions, you will never again feel that you're flying into clouds, not knowing how to get from where you are to where you're going. Constant interaction guiding you back to the center line. This is more profound than fire or electricity or anything I've done in the past. It's like having a right seat co-pilot every foot of the way, from starting point to ultimately accomplishing the objective, whatever it is. And then I contemplate and consider the values that would occur if the typical fledgling newcomer who is a little bit insecure about contacting others and describing to them a process. If you've been an employee and you've been reactive, that's not the same as having to provoke that conversation. Would it or would it not help if you had access to an almost limitless number of people who have opted in? They've said, I want to know more about AI. I want to know more about home-based business. I want to know more about entrepreneurship. I want to know more about personal development. People who have opted in. What if you had access to a literally limitless number, over 2 billion, of people who had asked for that information? Would it not be an easier journey from reactivity to proactivity if we were able to speak at first to some people who asked for our interactions? That's part of the LevAI solution. I encourage you all to don't stand outside of the hot tub, wondering what it would be like. Jump in, jump in. You're kind of standing outside of the hot tub if you are relying only upon those contacts that are available in the database. If you jump in, then you'll realize that the contacts that you see in the world everywhere, that is your available contact. Why? Because all of them are going to have to use AI, whether they want to or not. And so, sure, I love the Leads program because it lets me search out the very person that I want. If I want to do business in Russian speaking nations and I don't speak Russian, you know what I'd better do? I need to find a contact that speaks English and Russian. Well, I can search that out in the database and I can enroll the person that my business needs in addition to enrolling people who need my business. The LevAI solution in its total, in the combination of ingredients with the catalyst that is LevAI, this is in fact the highest iteration of what the AI transition in the world can represent and will represent. This next piece of the puzzle is a big, big, big one, the AI video feature. Every plan includes your own digital clone. Called here an avatar, it is your digital clone. Now, if you prefer to have it look like one of the avatars that are already created, you can. My clone, it looks so much like me that you cannot discern, is it me or is it not me? Give it any script or use AI to create one. And in fact, I will demonstrate just very quickly my digital clone. Um, right now, I only have a short example of it. You and I and all the rest of us will begin using it, using our digital clone. Hold on here, gotta go to Blake. We'll begin using our digital clones in about 2 weeks from now. And when that happens, this next stop, this might, you might shake your head a little bit when I say this. The digital clone grants to you and to me the opportunity to break the confines of time. Say, Randy, that sounds ridiculous. How are you going to break the confines of time? Well, this morning at 3 a.m., I received a message from a person in Malaysia who wanted to know if I could respond to a question at 3 a.m. Now, the truth is, at 3 a.m., thank God, I was sleeping. And so I didn't see that message until this morning, until later in the morning. It need not have been that way. Why? Because in only a handful of days, not very many days, my digital clone will be available. Now, here we see my digital clone. And that looks a lot like me, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like kind of exactly like me, I think. And my digital clone, it has talents and it has knowledge that I do not have. Now, you've already seen my digital clone, and I wish right now that I did have it available. I wish that I had put it into this presentation so that you could now see it in its entirety. It's important to note that as it speaks, and I'm going to take off my headset so you hear it. It's important to note that as it's not the annoyance that sometimes we've seen where what it is saying does not line up with our facial expression or with our mouth. I mean, this thing now we'll see Randy speaking French. I promise you, I don't speak French. And the key to it is that not just the words are correct. And I've communicated with some of my counterparts in France who said, "Hey, that's really good." But you see, even my mouth lines up with the words that I am speaking. But once again, this is the digital version of Randy. This is the clone, not me. And every one of you will similarly have a digital clone who can deliver your message or a message that you have uploaded someone else's content with their approval. And there is no limitation. And Larry just sent me a message. You can't see the clone. I know. I'm going to show you right now.
Bonjour, je suis Randy, la version IA. Appelez-moi Randy IA. Je peux vous aider à répondre à toutes vos questions concernant votre entreprise 24 heures 24 et 7 jours 7 en 150 langues.
Now, folks, for me, I think of this. For the last 30 years, 20 years, I guess, I have delivered leadership content. And the leadership content that I've delivered is why I'm successful. It's not been because of any particular company or any particular compensation plan or any particular product. The success of my career has been as a result of learning a proved and predictable pattern of activities. And I know that pattern of activities as well as I know anything. That proved and predictable pattern of activities, if engaged upon by anyone, will create more than mid-level success. If one wants to break through and go from a mid-level success to a profound success, then it is not just a pattern of activities, it is about a process of becoming, of developing leadership attributes. And so for the last many years, I have taught a program called More Happy, More Time, Lessons in Life and Leadership. And you know, that program has only been available where I was physically standing. My message is my life experience. And the message has only been as good as the interpreter standing beside me. So many times I have flown clear across the world, 15 hours on a flight, spent thousands of dollars, have an audience that's come to hear, they've come to learn, and the message is only as good as the interpreter, and the interpreter wasn't good. Folks, that is over for me and it's over for you. You can load, I have more than 150 hours of content, over 150 hours of content already loaded into my digital clone. And all of that content will be available to any of you and to all of you. Everything that you know and everything that I know, everything that your most favorite thought leader knows, it can all be loaded into your digital clone. You can give it a script. You can use AI to create one. And unlike you and unlike me, your digital clone can speak fluently in dozens, in fact, over 100 languages. And so up until now, I've been able to be in one place. And here I am. I'm in my home in Heber City, Utah. About 10 days from now, I can be in your home at the same time that I'm in mine. And I can be in 1 billion homes all at the same time if 1 billion people invite me to be there through the auspices of that digital home. And because 150 hours of content has been loaded, and there's several hundred more hours of content that will be loaded, so dense is the content that it literally becomes conversational. You can ask it a question and it'll respond. And it'll respond in ways that are better than I can respond. Why? Because it can do it in your language, whatever your language is, but it doesn't have to be English. This is more profound than fire or electricity or anything I've done in my past. This will put a multiplier of not 10 times, of not 50 times. I cannot even grasp how high is up. This makes a message which has only been deliverable in one tiny environment at one point in time. Suddenly, all boundaries, time, space, geography, language, all of those boundaries are gone. That is why the Misasava states that this will be more bigger than 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution and perhaps 10 times faster. So here you see my friend Larry Lane, and that looks like Larry, doesn't it? Your digital clone looks like you. Why? Because you upload a picture of you, and that's what becomes the clone. And now the clone learns everything that you know. The good news is it's not limited to what you know, because you can upload other content to the clone, and it puts a multiplier on your effectiveness. Give it your script or help AI to craft that script to write the message. We just illustrated my own. I don't have Larry's right now to illustrate for you. Folks, this is an amazing thing. And in our next training session, I will describe why it is so important that we have this pricing possibility. Right now, let me simply say that remember that everyone is going to use AI, everyone. And so our company's target audience is planet Earth. Our company's target audience includes the most highly sophisticated technological marketing firms in the world. It includes them, but it's not limited to them. Our market is everyone. What we want is to have a price point that not one person says, oh, I can find something like that for less money someplace else. I assure you, you cannot. You cannot find all of those ingredients together, the catalyst, bringing them all as one, communicating one with another, learning one with another. You can't find that anyplace else, no matter what you're willing to pay. And if you were trying to buy just the individual components, each individual component in all likelihood would cost more than our entire suite costs in totality. What is included? There you see just two packages, and that is an ongoing monthly subscription price. First, the very first month when you enroll, there's a $19 annual fee, and then this is an ongoing monthly subscription price. So what do you get for that subscription? Your likeness, your voice, speaking your script flawlessly in dozens of languages, and you can use AI to generate your script. Your AI writing assistant for writing posts and emails, growing your social media presence, and in so doing, growing your influence, which is doing what? It is growing your future market value. Multiple business profiles. I'm somewhat well known in the direct selling industry. And so it wouldn't be surprising for a leader in another company to not be referring someone to Randy Schrader's content if they're concerned that they might be receiving content that would sweep them away from their enterprise. That's logical. And that's why I have one profile that is simply called Leadership Personified, because people know that if they are interacting with Leadership Personified, they are going to hear pure leadership content that would be effective in any business and frankly in any home. Leadership Personified. Leadership is not just about business. Leadership is about all parts of life. On the other hand, I have a need to attract a team base that is more youthful than me. I'm happy to help every single person. Here's the truth. I'm 68 years old. Is it not evident that if I only enroll people who are my age, that they're closer to the end of the runway than they are to the start of the runway? It's really important that I attract and appeal to a more youthful crowd as well, in addition to, not instead of. And so for that reason, I benefit from the fact that I have an 8-year-old little boy. Though I'm 68 years old, I have an 8-year-old little boy. And so it keeps me in tune with more youthful thought, and it puts me in interaction with more youthful people. And it also evidences to me, I'm able to hear some of the messages. And so I have another profile, and that profile is called Just Being a Dad. And so when I posted my Just Being a Dad profile, then I'll place a very different kind of information. But what am I then receiving? I am almost by definition, the one who responds to Just Being a Dad probably has a younger child. And that means they're probably younger than me by quite a ways. And so you see, my various profiles give me access to different types of people, which is all inclusive in what? Growing a candidate list that's constantly and perpetually growing in front of me. My social, every single thing that we do is designed to increase the effectiveness of every post, comment, like you make or that other people make. It's almost magic. The CRM with screenshot import, letting you know what other people want to talk about instead of trying to force them to listen to what you want to talk about. No more spending money for website building. I love the enhanced CRM, which gives us lead funnels to bring a person all the way to the point of a logical conclusion. And as I indicated before, the ability to have interaction with more than 2 billion contacts who have acted in, who have opted in. And now we showed before the video clone, and then I referenced the idea that we could pack it so densely with knowledge that it literally can become interactive. Now, this is available to nearly all. When I say nearly all, I don't know. There will be some minimal rank threshold at which the interactive avatar, literally becoming conversant, will be available. That will not be automatically available to every person, but it'll be a very, very low rank. And when I say that, forgive me. Every rank is an important rank. And if this is your first success, every rank is a big rank. Forget that I just said that. It'll be available to almost all. It will be available to all as soon as you accomplish just that first rank or two, and that'll be disclosed in the next couple of days, I think, of what that rank would be. And now you can load it with so much content that it literally becomes conversational. This replaces airplane tickets for me. This replaces nights away from home for me. This replaces so much, and it makes what I've done for a living, where more than 90% of the revenue generated in my life over my career has been outside of the United States. This is not just about becoming more profitable in my business. It's about living life more the way that I want to live my life. Yes, I will still travel. Yes, I'll still travel to see you, whoever you are, if you ask me to. But I'll need to do it less frequently. Why? Because you've got me at your side, literally every minute if you want me, through the digital clone. Absolute unmatched value. I don't personally think you could begin to replicate this for $315 a month. In fact, I don't think you could replicate it no matter what you're willing to pay. Complete, absolute, total, unmatched value. And so then the question is this: what is the market opportunity? Folks, here it is. The same percentage of people on planet Earth who use a phone, they're going to use AI. That's a big opportunity, isn't it? The same percentage of people on planet Earth who use the internet, who use a computer, they're going to use AI. Almost none of them know how to use it today. And if they do, they're using individual applications that don't communicate one with another. Therefore, they're not as effective and they're spending more. So you tell me, what is the opportunity? It is absolutely immense. If you become the conduit to someone else's use, when they acquire their chosen product package, you'll get paid 50% of that product price pack. That's one time they buy the pack, you get paid 50% of the purchase price the first time. They pay their ongoing monthly subscription. You've enrolled them. They're on your first generation. Every time they pay their subscription, you get paid 20%. And we also compensate in an 8-generation unilevel comp plan for those who are used to building leadership structures and are used to generating leveraged income through the creation of an organization as opposed to your own personal productivity. The compensation plan will pay on 8 generations with compression. It's a pure cash-based comp plan. Does not have some artificial dilution to BV, PV, CV, and so on. The check match is magic because it's based on all parts of the comp plan. Someone gets an acquisition bonus in your first 4 generations, you get a matching check. They get a team commission in your first 4 generations, you get a matching check. They get an infinity bonus and you get a matching check. The infinity bonus is what? It's designed to effectively connect together leadership, assuring that legs run deep and don't dry up because leadership is not expressed. Okay, I don't need to go through launch updates. Blake did a great job of that this past week. I appreciate you being here with me. I think I probably talked a little bit too long. Not horrible. I wish right now I could just snap my fingers and get out of my head what's there to yours, and snap again and get out of my heart what's there to yours. Every day that has gone by has been a day when I have become more convinced of the correctness of this project. I am absolutely certain. There is no longer any hint of doubt. I know the future. LevAI is going to be a very, very large and successful company. I know the future. I don't know the date, but I know the future. I also know that there will be people whose lives are so dramatically impacted in a variety of ways because they used LevAI in their business, and because there will be some who use LevAI as a business. Look over your shoulder, imagine the greatest successes of your past, realize those successes were made possible by then existing knowledge and then existing technology. This is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past. This can be your single greatest success. I am eager to help you make it so. God bless you all. Have the best day. Tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, we will have yet another business presentation, and I look forward to helping you launch a business at that point in time. God bless. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye bye.